I just made $10,000 on a house that I've never seen, I've never been in, I've never stepped foot in, and I didn't touch with a hammer. Most beginners sometimes take months, if not years, to be able to close their first deals. But what if I told you there's a way to close your very first deal in the next 30 to 60 days? And no, you do not need cash, credit, or a license to be able to do that. Let me show you exactly how you can get started. But before I show you the exact steps, let me tell you the number one reason that most wholesalers fail when they first get started. What happens is they get stuck in learning mode instead of earning mode. They get stuck analyzing videos, watching stuff, continuing education, and while that's amazing, that in and of itself is not going to get you deals closed. So here's the commitment I want from you. Over the next 30 days, you are going to submit at least 30 offers through the methods that we're going to go through in this video. And if you're not sure how to submit offers, don't worry, we're going over that in this video. And stick around because at the end, I'm going to tell you how one of the Freedom Fundamental members was able to make $11,000 in his very first 24 days wholesaling real estate. So the very first thing you need to understand is wholesaling real estate comes down to finding the right type of property owner that is motivated. They want to sell and they need to sell, not just somebody that wants to sell. So right now, let's dive into a couple different methods that you guys can use to be able to close the very first deal in the next 30 to 60 days. And then the very last one is my absolute favorite that Keelan was able to use to get his very first deal closed in 24 days and make $11,000. Method number one, what you can do is called driving for dollars. In this method, what you're gonna do is you're gonna get in your car, get on a bike, go for a walk, whatever it may be, drive around your city and write down the addresses of properties that look run down, abandoned, beaten up, super tall grass, abandoned vehicles sitting in the driveway or anything like that. You then want to try and compile a list of 100, 200, 300 properties, and while that may take you a week or so, that's okay. Once you've done that, you're then going to take those properties, bring that back home, and you're going to skip trace all the addresses on truepeoplesearch.com. Going to truepeoplesearch.com will give you the phone numbers of the homeowners. Then your job is to pick up the phone, call them, and reach out to see if they would like to sell their property. Method number two is going to be going after properties that are on the code violation list and the utility shutoff list. Both of these lists are not some of the publicly available ones on PropStream, Batch Leads, or Privy or anything like that, which tends to make them less competitive, which is great because we want to be the one getting on the phone with the homeowner, not the 100th person doing so. To be able to get both of those lists, what I recommend you do, because every county is different, is Google the name of your county and then code violation department, or the name of the county and then utility department. Give them a call and ask them, how do I get access to a list of all properties on the active code violation list? Or how do I get a list of all properties on the water shutoff list? Once you have that, the process is then the exact same from the driving for dollars, which is where you're going to take the addresses, skip trace them on truepeoplesearch.com, give them a call and see if they want to sell. Now the third method that Keelan used, we're going to get to that after we explain, once you get a deal, how to then sell it. So you now have a list of all the properties from the driving for dollars, from the code violation list, and from the water shutoff list. Congratulations. What you're going to do is, obviously we know we're going to reach out to them, and the phone call is going to be very simple. It's just going to be, hey John, this is Eric. I was reaching out about your property over there on 123 Main Street. I'm curious to see if you'd ever entertained selling the property. That's it. Don't overcomplicate it. If they are, then what you want to do is get the 4 pillars: price, timeline, condition, motivation. Price, how much are they looking to get for the property? Timeline, when do they want to sell the property? Number 3 is condition. Have them give you a visual walkthrough of the property so you can better estimate rehab costs virtually. Because again, this is virtual wholesaling real estate. So you guys can estimate rehab costs based on what the homeowner tells you. And the very last one is motivation. So you can say, hey, what's got you considering selling the property? Dig into their motivation, find their pain points, understand what problem they need solved, with the solution being selling the property. Whether it's they just had to evict some bad tenants, they're going in pre-foreclosure, the house is going to get condemned, or whatever the situation may be, find out why they are entertaining selling the property for cash. Now, when a seller says yes and they give you all that information, the next step is then going to be to sign a contract, which we go over in the next video. Congratulations, you've signed a contract. Now we're onto the next step, which is now we need to find a buyer for your deal. And get this, we can find buyers fast. Method number 1 is going to be super easy. We're going to hop into a bunch of wholesaling real estate for sale, etc. Facebook groups and find other wholesalers that are posting deals and go to the comment section and see who's commenting saying, I'm an active cash buyer in the area. Then you simply just click on their name, message them and say, hey, I saw that you're buying in this area. Are you looking for potential fix and flips? When they say yes, you can say, perfect, do I have a deal for you? Method number 2, You can go onto Zillow.com and you can find properties that have recently been fixed and flipped. The way to find that is go to Zillow.com, type in the name of the city. Once you have that typed in, you're gonna put renovated as the key word. You're gonna put sold in the last 3 to 6 months. And then you wanna go through all the properties that are available and find ones that were fixed and flipped. One of the best ways to verify that it was fixed and flipped is number one, the photos. Typically you can tell when a property's been fixed and flipped because it is brand spanking new. The photos are amazing, but then a secret hack is go to the transaction history and you can see when they bought it and what they bought it for and then what they sold it for. This is gonna be key because if you see a property that was purchased 6 months ago for $200,000 and then resold 3 months ago, so 3 months total in between buying and selling, for $400,000, that is a fix and flipper. What you can do next is super easy. Call the real estate agent that sold the property and say, hey John, this is Eric. I'm reaching out about the property you just sold over there on 64th Street. Looks like a beautiful fix and flip. I was wondering, are the people that fixed and renovated that property, are they looking for other fix and flips in the area? And that's it. The real estate agent will then connect you with the buyer and then you can just sell it straight to them. Last but not least, you can also JV with another wholesaler that has a buyer network built up. You can JV with me, you can find other wholesalers in the Facebook groups, or of course you can hop in our community and partner with other wholesalers in that group as well. Step number 5 is get paid and repeat. Once the buyer is good to go, they've done their walkthrough, they like the property, you then gonna send them an assignment contract to be able to sell the deal, get that to the title company, wait for closing, and cash your check. Now the method that Keelan did where he was able to land an $11,000 check in 24 days of starting wholesaling was actually building a buyer's list first. So what he did is he built up the buyer's list through the methods that we just talked about, found about 50 to 100 different buyers, which takes 5 to 7 days depending on how much time you have. And then he joined Facebook groups, went on Facebook Marketplace, and went on Craigslist. He found other wholesalers with deals that did not have buyers. He then reached out to hundreds of these wholesalers to say, hey, I saw you have a deal over in this area. I've got a ton of cash buyers that this would be a great fit for. Are you open to doing a joint venture? Now the beauty of this is you don't have to go find the deal yourself direct from the homeowner. I wouldn't necessarily build your long-term business around this, but if your goal is to get a check as soon as humanly possible, potentially in the next 30 days, this is without a doubt one of the easiest ways to do so. Not everybody's gonna say yes, and that's okay, because you don't need 100 deals this method. You need 1 or 2 to be able to then reinvest in your company, scale it, and grow it to 6 to 7 figures per year. Now remember, this is going to take work, this is going to take effort, but I promise you if you stick with it, you will get deals closed. And if you follow these steps to a T, you should be well on your way to closing your very first wholesale real estate deal in the next 30 to 60 days. Now that you know how to close your first deal, let's talk about the biggest mistakes that could cost you thousands. Click right here to watch the video on the 10 mistakes that you can avoid that cost me $15,000 so you don't have to make the same mistakes that I did. And as always, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe for more wholesale content.